What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Lines podcast here. This is episode 1 here in the Adam Lutz YouTube channel. It used to be the Bra We Got This YouTube channel, and you may be listening to this on Spotify or other platforms that have podcasts on them. But if you're watching live on YouTube, or I shouldn't say live, but if you're watching the recorded video on YouTube, hello, this is the first podcast of the YouTube channel. And if you guys are familiar here in the YouTube channel, this is something that I just decided to do recently, where I want to make a lot of my long form video ideas into podcasts. And I will be having some shorter videos and tips and life hacks, whatever you want to call it, in the channel. Still, I'll be having YouTube shorts as well, but I also wanted to just have podcasts, because that way I could just talk to you guys about certain topics that I want to talk about with you all and help you with. And I could potentially have interviews on here with different, guests and different people of different backgrounds. And so I'm really, really excited to be doing this podcast. And I just think it's something that I've had a desire to do for a long time, is podcasting. And I've done it a little bit with Joe, but just kind of doing my own podcast here is something that I've wanted to do for a while. But welcome to the show here. And if you are not familiar here, basically I used to have a YouTube channel called Bra We Got This with my friend Joe, where we used to focus on video games, guides on video games, let's plays, just different videos on how to play, video games, right? And recently, from a lot of events in my life, I've switched over the channel to just doing basically men's leadership, encouragement, men's development, and I dabble in the world of, digital media consumption and the effects that it has on men and on the family. And I'm a big believer in, what you consume or what you see has an effect on you. If you think it doesn't have an effect on you, then there's probably something that has desensitized you to that, because I believe that every piece of media that you consume will have some sort of effect on you at some point, and you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, how did I ever, watch this or play this, right? And so if you want to get more, in-depth details on why I switched from the video game aspect, you can check out some of the videos in the channel. But I want to jump into this podcast topic today, and this is something that I had a vote on for my members of the channel, and that is, you have a gift, or you are good at something. But if you are a member, thank you for being one. You get your name up here in the video, you get access to our community Discord, and you get many other perks as well. If you want to check out all those memberships, you can check them out down in the description. And so we're going to talk about gifts today, and why I believe every single one of you has a gift or a talent that you can utilize, okay? You may be at a time in your life that you feel like you can't see your gifts, or maybe you don't think that you're good at something, or maybe you've believed that you'll never be good at something. I want you to stop believing this lie, because God has created you with some sort of talent and gift, and you are unique as a person. There's no other person in the world like you, and there never will be. So that's something that I think is really, really cool about God, is that He's created everyone differently, right? So there's something inside of you that you are good at and that you have a talent with. And so I want to go through some processes and steps here that maybe can help you identify potential talents or gifts that you have, and maybe you might not even see them yourself. And I'd like to try to draw them out and see if you can try to utilize them in some way in your life. If you see me on the YouTube video, I'm fixing my mic because it literally keeps falling down. It is one of the most frustrating things that I've ever had to deal with. I don't know why it keeps happening, and it's about to fall again. One of the first things I want you to do is, when we are trying to figure out what you are good at, if you don't know, or if you just feel like you're in a fog, I want you to try to identify maybe if there is something blocking or hiding your talents or gifts, right? Now that could be sin struggles, and this is going to get pretty raw and pretty, this is going to create vulnerability for yourself, but maybe you have struggles with alcohol, right? Maybe you have struggles with deceit or selfishness or pornography, right? These can all be things that can block you from seeing maybe what some of your gifts are. Okay. And so if you're struggling with some of these things, if you are, just feel like, again, you're in some sort of haze, maybe you aren't a Christian, you may see these things as not problems, but here in this channel, I come from a Christian and biblical foundation. So I will be talking about it from that foundation. Or maybe you are a Christian and you are struggling with these things. I would really challenge you to really do a self-evaluation and see maybe if there is something that is not allowing you to hear from God. Maybe you feel like you're disconnected, right? That could be some sort of, sin struggle. That could be some sort of, unconfessed sin as well in your life. And I'm going to have another podcast on some of these sin struggles and maybe even unconfessed sin as well. I don't know yet if I'll do something with that, but definitely on some of the sin struggles and sharing a little bit of my testimony as well here. So I would encourage you to pray and ask the Lord to reveal any unconfessed sins in your life and, have true repentance and come to the Lord and confess those sins once he reveals those to you. And I really believe you will get a peace once you do this. So after you do this step and you maybe have identified some sort of sin struggle or unconfessed sin, if you haven't, if the Lord hasn't revealed any unconfessed sin to you or sin struggle, and you feel like, there's nothing clouding or blocking your connection with the Lord, I want you to write down what you like to do for fun, right? And so for me, I'm going to give you examples of, for me, what my things are for each of these steps, right? So things I like to do for fun. I like to play board games. I like to socialize with people. I like to watch movies. I like to go to church. I like to woodwork. I like to play video games every now and then. And again, I just enjoy being around people, pouring into people, right? So those are some things that I enjoy doing for fun. And so I want you to write that stuff down. Now, once you write that down, I want you to write down some goals or things that you want to see yourself doing. Maybe this is something in 5 years. Maybe this is 6 months from now, maybe a year from now. And maybe for some of you, you need to narrow it down to maybe next week, right? You could be in some sort of a funk right now, and you might just need to, go day to day, and that's perfectly fine. I advise you to go day to day, no matter what or what season of life you're in. But write down some goals. So start with the day to day, then maybe start with a week, month, then 6 months, maybe a year, 5 years from now. And so I'll give you again some examples that I want to see myself doing in this time span, right? So for me, I would like to get my PMP, my project management certification, or professional, project management certification. I'd like to get that within a year. I really like project management, and it's something that I feel like I'm good at, and that certification can really help me out in my career. So, I'm trying to get that within like a year, hopefully, maybe by the end of the year, actually. So that's like maybe a yearly or a 6-month goal, right? Then a 5-year goal is writing a book. I want to write a book on part of my story and my testimony. It's something that I haven't shared yet in the channel, which I am planning to hopefully share it very, very soon, and aspects of it. The point of that book is to hopefully help young men with certain struggles, because I just want to be able to pour into young men's lives from experiences that I have went, or done and made mistakes in, and I just want to help, right? So that's a long-term goal for me, right? Then maybe a yearly goal is leading men, right? I really like leadership. Leadership is something that I've kind of just, I don't want to say fallen into, but leadership is something that I have now in some ways at my job, because I have to lead a small team along with other project managers. And so that is something that I just kind of like didn't realize I was doing. Like, I've never been in a leadership position at a job for the most part. And so when I took this job again, almost coming up on a year ago from now, I didn't realize that I would actually be in a leadership position. It didn't really hit me until about 4 to 5, maybe months later. And so I've found that leadership is something that I really enjoy and I really think I'm growing in. So that's maybe a yearly goal for myself. And then another long-term goal is to get married and have a family. This is something that I really want to do. I really feel called to, have a family and to be married. And so, I want to honor, God with that, right? Maybe some monthly goals for me would be working out consistently and being disciplined with maybe not eating out as much, or just making sure I go to the gym at least 4 days a week. I did my first week this week of 4 days a week, and I felt pretty disciplined with it. I'm still working on not eating out as much, but those are maybe some short-term goals, right? So I want you to write down yours and maybe let me know in the comment section what some of those goals that you wrote down are. So after we do that, I want you to write down things or tasks or activities that you do that when you are done, completing them, you feel energized, not drained. And I feel like most of you will know what I'm talking about with that. Like, have you ever just done something and you're like, man, I just want to keep doing this? Like, and not from a bad way, right? But a good energy. Like, you're like, man, I really just feel more motivated than I did. And maybe that thing was very physically intense and you are still feeling energized. So again, I'm going to give you examples for me. And so hopefully that'll help you get examples for yourself. So for me, woodworking is one of the biggest things that I feel energized with. I can spend 8 hours with my dad in his shop doing woodworking. And after that, I just want to keep doing woodworking. And I believe that, and it was told to me that when you do things like that are honoring to the Lord, that means those are things that honor him. Those are things that are godly, maybe gifts or skills that he has given you that he wants you to keep doing, right? And it's so amazing how I just feel so fulfilled by doing those kind of tasks, right? So woodworking is a big one for me. Another one for me is board games. I love board games. When I play board games, I just want to keep playing more board games because I feel energized. Board games are like a puzzle, right? And I love to critically think, and it's like every board game is a new puzzle. And when you do the board game, you're basically making a new puzzle every single time. You're having to find ways to complete the puzzle every single time. And I absolutely love that about board games. They make your brain just feel so good when you play them. And not everyone obviously likes board games, but for me, it is something that makes me feel energized afterwards, right? Another one is giving. Right? Giving to other people. That doesn't have to necessarily be money. That could just be like maybe picking up someone a milkshake or giving them a letter, or, it could be giving them money as well. But doing that really makes me feel energized. I love doing that. Another thing is teaching. I love to teach. If you guys haven't noticed, I have about 400 videos in this channel, I think. It's probably 400 videos of guides, which are basically teaching you how to play certain video games. I used to coach kicking. I used to be a college football kicker and punter. And so teaching is something that I really, really enjoy as well. And it kind of runs in my family. And I'm realizing, I'm like, holy crap, there's a lot of teachers in my family. My grandfather was a teacher, and then there was other people in my family that were teachers as well. And then the last thing I wrote down was project management. Again, because when I do project management, it's like a puzzle, right? It's like I have to figure out how people go to certain jobs, right? Like how they fit at those jobs. And then what time do they go to those jobs? And then if we have this job pop up, who do we send here? And every day I have to make the schedule, and it's like a puzzle. And so I feel very, very energized by that. So maybe for you, none of these things relate. So maybe there could be something like music, right? Maybe you love playing music or listening to music, and that is something that makes you feel energized. Maybe it's doing some form of art besides music. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's cleaning. Maybe it's talking to people or encouraging people, right? There could be tons of different things. And that's the thing about this, you guys, is your gift may not be something that you even realize is a gift or is important, but I'm telling you, every gift that you have in you is important. So when I say that, when I say cleaning, or when I say just, listening to someone, you'll be surprised by how many people aren't good listeners, right? They're just not. Some people are just so good at it. They can just sit there and listen to someone talk about something and take it in, right? And be able to like, just not say much and just listen. That is a skill. That is amazing, right? Cleaning might not be something that you think is that big of a deal, but it is, right? Keeping things clean is a big deal. So there's other little things that you can pull from your talents that probably translate into other gifts and talents as well. And so I don't want you to see your talent, if it's not something like woodworking and it's something that you feel like is quote unquote smaller, I don't want you to minimize your talent, right? There's something there that can grow from that, right? So don't minimize, maybe something that doesn't seem as significant, because it still is significant because you're good at it, right? So write those things down, and I'd love, again, to see that in the comment section as well. Now, after this, I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit different, right? I want you to now go, or you have to do it right this minute. Maybe you're driving in the car listening to me, but I want you, when you have a chance, to go on a walk for about 30 minutes to an hour, and don't listen to music and have distractions, right? I just want you to go just walk, right? And I want you to think about times where people have told you that you are good at something. If no one has ever told you you're good at something, I want you to ask God to reveal to you something that you are good at. The point of going on this walk without music is just to get away from the busyness of this world. It can be so distracting, just all the different things that go on in this world. A song I really love by one of my favorite bands is called American Noise by Skillet. At the beginning of the song, or like leading up to the beginning of the song, it has all these noises, right? And there's like fire trucks and like police sirens and like static and all these different things. And it's such a cool song because it really captivates, because I think this song was made in like 2013. It's from the Rise album, I believe. And it just really captures like the American noise, right? It captures how much stuff is going into our ears and how many things we're consuming into our eyes, and how many things that are just distracting us. Sometimes distractions are things that might not seem bad, but they could really be distracting you from what God's calling for you in your life, right? And so maybe when you first look at something, you're like, that's not a bad thing to do, right? But it could just be a distraction. And if you're trying to do so many different things, it can really just pull you in 7-8 different ways, right? So I want you guys to not listen to music, and I want you to just be silent and walk for 30 minutes and ask the Lord to reveal something to you that you are good at, if you don't know what that may be. We never take time to process our emotions and our thoughts, our experiences, and just in, general, just different thoughts that come into our head. And I believe that if we just take time each day to reflect on our life, you will be surprised the effect that it'll have on you, right? And so, again, I wrote down some things maybe that people have told me that I'm good at. So some of those are encouragement. People have told me I'm good at encouraging people. People have told me that I am good at teaching and coaching. People have told me that I'm good with time management. People have told me that I'm generous, that I'm creative, and that I'm smart, right? So you see that those things somewhat relate to the things that I do when I don't feel I don't feel drained after doing them. So for instance, creative could be woodworking, right? Smart could be woodworking. Generous goes with giving, right? Teaching and coaching obviously go with teaching. Time management goes with project management. Smart goes with board games. I'm not saying you have to be smart to play board games, but the kind of board games I play, you have to critically think, right? So you have to know what you're doing. So that they correlate. So if you can think of things that people have told you that you're good at, it can maybe help you draw lines back to stuff that you actually can tangibly say that you have a talent in. And so that kind of leads to my next thing, where I want you to see the parallels that you have with what people have told you you're good at versus maybe things that you feel energized doing, maybe even things that you see yourself doing in a year from now, 5 years from now. If you've gotten to this point, maybe you're saying, Adam, I really cannot think of anything. I just can't. I just feel like maybe you're in a depression, a season of depression. Maybe you just don't feel anything right now. And if this is you, I want you to do a couple things, right? I want you to, again, if you've got a job, I want you to think about something you are good at that job. If you don't have a job, or maybe your job isn't something that you want to be doing at all, what is something in your life that is that you find easy, but maybe other people may find it hard? Okay, so for me, again, I'm giving you guys examples, right? These are things that I find easy. Time management, memorizing eventually, right? So I say that eventually because I feel like sometimes my memory is terrible. Math, I find easy. School-related talents as well. And those are just some things that I could think of for myself. But maybe you have other, maybe some of these are some things that you find easy. Maybe cleaning, again, is something you find easy. Puzzles, history, right? Like maybe like knowing history or like random trivia. Talking to people might be easy to you. Do you just have conversations that just flow really, really well, right? That means you are probably good at speaking to people, right? Maybe public speaking is something that you find easy, or standing up in front of people and speaking in front of a lot of, crowds. That is something that is not easy for people. Maybe making people laugh is something that just comes natural to you. Anything that comes natural, in my opinion, could be deemed as easy for you, right? And those are some things I want you to focus on. And I want you to obviously focus on things that are, good and godly, right? Not negative things, right? Because we're not trying to, get better at the things that are negative, right? We're trying to work on the gifts or find the gifts and talents that you have, right? That enrich your life, right? And so some things that you find natural to you could be deemed as easy. And so I want you to start there. That is your starting ground, right? Each day, I want you to look for ways that you can use these talents, okay? I want you to take your gift and I want you to try to serve someone else with it. So find someone at your job, find someone at your church, your family, your apartment complex, your school, or other groups you're in, and find a way to use your gift to serve someone else, right? So again, if making someone laugh is a gift that you have, find someone that you could cheer up today and make them laugh, right? If giving is something that you're good at, find a way to be generous to someone today. Give to someone. Maybe it's, again, just like, buying them a meal, or maybe it's just like surprising them with something that they didn't, expect. I want you to practice, using these muscles, because it will help you to grow these gifts and talents that God has given you, and maybe lead to finding more gifts and talents that God has given to you that you don't even know. Again, y'all, in my life, I'm not going to share my story on this video, but there have been so many things recently that I've realized that God has gifted me that I just have not been using for years of my life. And it just made me so happy, and it's given me so much joy. And so I'm telling you, there are probably things in your life that you might not even realize yet that you are good at, or you might not even remember that you're good at. So for instance, I'm going to give you an example. Again, I'm finding ways to go home and I'm building things with my dad with woodworking, right? And so with that, I'm trying to find ways to make gifts for people. I want to make woodworking gifts for friends and family. And so I want to do that, right? That's a way that I'm practicing these talents. I want to try to find ways to give to other people spontaneously. And sometimes I even get to teach my small group at church. Shout out to anyone from the small group listening to this podcast. What's up? And when I do that, I get to practice my skill of teaching, right? I get to coach up employees each day on how to be better at the job and just help them with maybe life things in general. And so these are ways that you can practice these, right? If you're starting from ground zero, practice these every day and it can enrich your life. And so I want to close the podcast today with, talking about the greatest gift though that has ever been given, and that is, God giving his son. So John 3:16, it talks about, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Maybe you're watching this video today and you are not a believer. And when I say believer, you're not saved, in the Christian faith. And I would extend this invitation to you. And maybe you're like, Adam, I've done too much wrong in my life to ever, go down this path. And I've got a Bible verse for that as well. Romans 5:8 says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So that means that while you were still sinning, while you were still a sinner, just like I am still a sinner, Christ still died for you and me. And so you have not done too much. You have not messed up too much, because Christ, covers it all, right? And so again, God gives the ultimate gift, his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And so I want to extend that invitation to you today, because that is the ultimate gift. And again, maybe you're someone today that doesn't believe. If you were interested in learning more about what it's like to become a Christian and what it's like to be saved, I would love to pray for you and pray with you. You can contact me in the comment section. Just try to, I'll try to read the comments as much as I can with this video, but I would love to lead you in, a prayer of salvation if that is something that you are interested in, right? But maybe you come to this video and you're already saved, or maybe you're not and you still get something out of this video. Praise God for that. And I hope that through this podcast and video, this will help you maybe find and identify gifts that maybe have been lost, and maybe that you need or want to try to start practicing again and getting better at, right? So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I'd love to see what kind of gifts in the comment section you're going to start practicing and, getting better at and using. I'd love to see that. And again, thank you to all my members here in the YouTube channel. If you would like to become a member, check out the link below in the description. You get access to tons of different things, early access to podcast videos, right? And again, this is my first episode here on the Frontlines podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, you can find this on Spotify and YouTube and eventually other, podcast platforms. But thank you again for being here today. And until next time, you all, I will see you guys on the next episode or the next video. Peace.